In this quick video, I'm going to show you how to replace the hatch handle cover for the 2007 Prius. I know a lot of people have, across the internet and forums, have mentioned how their coating has completely disintegrated to a bad batch of rubber. You'll see here is the finished product. I'll step through and show you how I did it. It doesn't, it's not looking factory, but I think it looks and works good enough. Alright, here are the tools I used for the job. Of course, I used bicycle inner tube, cut to size, scissors to cut, deep well socket set, socket wrench set, and I'm a computer guy, not a mechanic, so if I'm using the wrong terminology, I apologize, but it was a 7/16 that I used to get the nuts off the inside of the hatch to release the panel, screwdriver to scrape everything off, and to tighten the new screws. I replaced the old screw with the new sheet metal slot hex head screws. I use a drill bit just to punch through the inner tube, punch through the holes. You can use whatever you want to punch a holes. I tried these worked okay for one of the screws to take it off, because I tried doing it first without removing the entire panel, but one came out okay and the other stripped, and I couldn't really get it off, so I had to pull the whole thing off anyway. I tried using a mini socket wrench set, but the head of the mini socket wrench set was too thick to get into the screw. Though these did work if it wasn't for the soft screw that stripped easily. Also used little servo tape, and tweezers are just to pull the red backing off one side of the servo tape. Also used, these are invaluable if you can get your hands on them. I got this set pretty cheap off eBay. This is a nylon interior pry tools that allow you to release the back panel off the hatch without damaging the panel or the paint on the hatch. So if you can get these, they are incredibly helpful and work very well. First, when you get the interior panel off, like I mentioned, I use the pry tools. Pretty much you just wedge it in there, and you can see I just twisted it a quarter turn, and it pulled this away from, it popped out those holders, the pin holders, and you just kind of give a little pressure and they'll start popping out pretty easily, and I'll show you the inside once I get this panel off. So when you're pulling the interior panel off, these are the things you're fighting against, these little knobs. They pop in and pop out. There's quite a few of them on the interior, and it's just a matter of pulling away the interior panel. And you can give it a little force. Don't be afraid to give it a little force, but you just got to pull it enough to pop these out of the sockets. So when you have the panel off and you want to pull out your the exterior panel or garnish with the handle, you want to take out the bolts using a 7/16 deep well socket set. There's 4 you got to pull out. There's one here, one up here, and the other one is the same place over here. So pull those out, like I said, with a 7/16 deep well socket. Okay, this is very important. Before you try to pull the handle away from the rest of the hatch, you want to make sure that this wire is unplugged from the rest of the harness here, and that you've pushed out the stopper. This will free the wiring from the rest of the hatch and the harness. Now, this is a picture of the after, where I've already done this, but just so you can see, this is a stopper that you're going to want to push out, and it'll be seated in a hole kind of like this, but it'll be more up here. So here's the hatch handle once it's been cleaned up. Keep in mind, when you're cleaning off all the gunk, there's these little washers on top of here, so be careful that you don't toss those away with the rest of the gunk. Also careful of the spring. It comes in and out very easily, so when you're cleaning out all the gooey black, I actually took this out and cleaned up the casing. Some people got some of the gunk in their switch. This is the little blue switch that they were talking about, but my gunk didn't get deep into my switch. I just had it kind of all in the casing, plus in the switch lever, which goes in like this once the spring is in. So I was able to pull this out and get it cleaned up nicely. I used the charcoal lighter, like someone mentioned in another post, and it worked very well, getting that all cleaned up nice and easy. So here I've used the suggestion of another poster who recommended using a double-sided servo tape to help keep the rubber piece in place and maybe waterproof it a little bit. This is the double-sided silicone. The red tape is the protectant, which I will peel off when I fix the new rubber handle on, and hopefully it'll all keep it in place. So this is what the final repair looks like. You can see I swapped out the old Phillips screw type with a new slotted hex. One of the screws came out okay, the other one stripped pretty easily like other people had mentioned. But once I got it off the car, I was able to get it out with a Phillips, even though it was a little stripped. But anyway, I replaced it with a slotted hex for next time, if there is a next time, so these will come off a little easier. So when you're putting the interior panel back in, you just want to line it up, get the first view in, and then you can just pound it in. And they'll pound right into place. So here is the finished product. I think it looks pretty nice and works very well. Sure is a heck of a lot cheaper than the dealer would charge to fix it. The servo tape seems to be holding pretty well. Make sure you wash, clean, and scuff up the back of this inner tube. I forgot to do that the first time, and the servo tape didn't hold very well. But I redid it, and it looks like it's holding pretty good, and it works well. So I hope this helps.